Hello, everybody, and welcome back as we are here in the ECL Pro, starting off week number 2. I am Tegan, it's King Line Blair. He is Brandon B. Major Bigsby, and Brandon, it's so good to be back with you here on Sports Gamer GG.
Amazing to be back with you, Tegan. It's been way too long, but finally, after a long offseason, a interesting transfer window to say the least, we are finally back here for ECL, not just pro hockey, but ECL hockey right here at Sports Gamer. And man, oh man, Tegan, it's been a long wait. We're finally here. Can't wait to call and watch this with you.
It's been a long wait, and it's been great. We've got two massive matchups coming to you tonight in a total of 4 games, don't we, Brandon?
Absolutely. We have some interesting matchups. We're going to be following one team twice in HanaaHC, and we'll be seeing them play versus Pasilan SKA and Tuna Esport, who, interestingly enough, are coming off of a championship last season, winning ECL core. So it's going to be really interesting. One of the top teams in ECL Pro last season, Hana, playing two teams kind of trying to make their way into that level. So going to be interesting to see them go against teams trying to make a name for themselves here in this tournament.
And we missed all you guys through week 1, so why don't we catch up, Brandon, on the latest results on what happened during that week 1, as Hana has done a very good job going 5-1, but why don't you walk us through what you see here?
Yeah, we kind of saw with the Pro Division that anything could happen. We saw that last season. You're seeing it yet again here this season. And something that really pops out to my eye, you're seeing Tuna Esport and Pasilan. They played each other just last week, and Hana will be playing both of them here tonight. So those two teams kind of know what each other look like. Now they're going to have a common opponent against one another. But a few other interesting teams to look out for. Hawaii Hockey, one of the top teams so far to start in Pro. A few good results for themselves. Jura Gordon, who came down from the Elite Division trying to get back up there after being relegated. They had a good result in their early weeks. So this is a Pro Division that's really up in the air and up for the taking for any team to take. It's going to be a lot of fun to see who's going to be able to get that good start here in the first 2 weeks, as we're just 5 weeks away from that big playoff spot.
You're absolutely right, Brandon. There's lots of swing that can happen, as there is 5 long weeks here in the ECL Pro. As we take a look at one of the true groups, as we'll follow into Group 1 first and take a look at the standings, as there is lots of teams here, as there is 2 groups.
Yeah, and you see HanaaHC, who will be following, as you mentioned, Tegan, 5-1 and 10 points, but it's kind of shocking not to see them higher just because of the amount of games played, or the lack thereof, but they're getting off to just as good as a start as I think many expected them to. They were a team that I think some maybe had being in that relegation series zone where they were able to play an elite team and get a chance to move up to the Elite Division, but got upset in round 1 last year versus the 7th seed No Rex Gaming, and now looking to be on a bit of a revenge tour, so to speak. A great start, and really a chance for them to potentially go all the way up to first if they play their cards right.
And we'll pop over to Group 2 here, Brandon, and have a look here, as we have the Deadly Phantoms doing a very good job in their 8 games played, matching Hana with the 5-1 record.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun group to watch, because when we talked about some of these teams that were kind of up in the air, I think this group is a group that really does kind of exemplify that. A few teams, even in that second group that you're seeing over on the side, a team like Visu Gaming, a team like Philadelphia Academy, that are kind of looking to get into that left side and have some hopes to maybe make a playoff run this season. Ghetto Firebirds, another team that may have lost a few pieces during the offseason, but was a team that was a playoff team last season as well. So this group especially kind of goes to show you how much parity there is in the ECL Pro Division. We talked about it all last season. It's continuing this season. Any team can take home this Pro Division. It's up for the taking. These first couple of weeks could be a really good way to get off on the right foot and to get yourself in that right positioning as we get to that home stretch.
As I'm sure we'll see a lot of swapping here, Brandon, from the left to the right-hand side of the board, as we follow the ECL Pro. It is very exciting to watch. During the 5 weeks, it is sweaty hockey, and both teams can fly up and down the rankings.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes it so interesting. And, sometimes people can kind of look at these early week games like, oh, it's one of those things. The games really start to ramp up in week 3 and week 4, but these early games, they can creep up on you when you get to that last week and you're maybe looking at a team ahead of you by 4 to 6 points, you kind of start looking at some of those games in week 1 and week 2 that you may have dropped and to teams that are ahead of you in the standings, and you're like, man, if only we were playing a little bit better at that time point, that could be the difference between being in or out of the playoffs in a month's time. So every game matters in this league, especially in a league so competitive like the Pro Division. I think that's what makes this so fun to watch. And like you said, Tegan, there's going to be a lot of shuffling, and it's happening now. It's going to keep happening throughout the season. So we'll be looking at this board a lot here in the next few weeks.
As we have some great games coming up, as we'll pop over to the team matchup here, Brandon, and not too bad, pretty even matchup here despite the record.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting because you kind of look at that goals against, and that's really the only thing, obviously, aside from the record, that really differentiates these two teams. I mean, Pasilan, they're not a bad team. They've been a team that's been competitive so far. 5 of their losses have been by just 1 goal, including one of them being in overtime. So I know they might not have the record that they would hope they'd have, but they've been competitive in a lot of games, and a play here and a play there, they could maybe be a little bit closer to a record like what their opponent in HanaaHC has. So I know that record might look a little bit lopsided looking at it, but Pasilan, a good team that's been competitive, do not sleep on them coming into this matchup.
Yeah, the power play and penalty kill very even. The only differential is going to be that goals for and goals against, and that's exactly what wins you hockey games. As we pop over and take a look at who's going to be playing for Pasilan and HanaaHC, is we'll pop over here and have a look, and there's some great players coming to you here, as Pasilan is going to be running Yane at center, Masson Toitano at left wing, Kempanen at right wing, Itsporo on lefty, Yaboy on righty, and Veki Deki in between the pipes. And then we pop over and take a look at Hana here.
Yeah, Mika at center with Laiku and Hazard Laser at the wings next to them. Interestingly enough, all 3 of them returning from last season, so a forward group with a lot of chemistry between those 3. And then back in defense, Yuki's, Ripke Sare, and they will be in front of the goaltender in Esko Etika. So this is a Hana team that really has a lot of talent from top to bottom. They've displayed that this part of the season. It'll be really interesting to see them play against a Pasilan team that has been pretty competitive here to start out despite their record.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And that chemistry on the right-hand side for Hana is going to be tough to fight up against, as we're going to have a look at how Yane and Mika match up as the 2 centermen going head-to-head here, Brendan.
Yeah, and we kind of talk about how the centers can tend to drive the play, and who else better than Mika so far through the first week of action to really talk about how a center can really drive play. 5 goals, 6 assists, and 11 points so far, while unfortunately a little bit lower for Yane, but I honestly think that is a test for how good of a player Yane can be. He's proven to be a guy that can really set his teammates up well when his team is generating offense. They haven't really gotten a lot of goals for you, and you kind of saw that earlier with the 12 to start out in the week 1. So these stats could be a little bit skewed this early on in the season, but this center matchup really could be interesting. I think both of these guys could have a lot to say depending on how this thing goes.
I couldn't agree more. That face-off percentage we'll have to keep an eye on, is both sitting around that 50% mark, Brandon. So a toss-up there as we pop over to the wingers and have a look at how these 2 match up.
Yeah, and we kind of already talked about Hana, how those 2 wingers in Laiku and Hazard come back from last season. All 3 of their leading scorers are on that forward core. 2 of them come back right here between these 2 wingers. But you kind of look at Pasilan here, it's interesting because they've actually been able to score, but most of that has been from their left winger rather than the right side. So that's going to be really interesting to see with Monson Toitino at that left side. I wonder if Hana's kind of going to key in on him, knowing he's been the main goal scorer. He's taken the majority of the shots for this Pasilan team. He could be a guy to really look out for. Is, to be honest, I think this will be a close game. If they have a goal scorer that comes in late in the 3rd period and it's a close game, he could be the guy that really steps up big for them.
6 goals from the left-hand side on either side for those wingers. So strong on the left-hand side as we pop over to the defensive matchup here, Brandon.
We talk about all the time, aside from goaltending, defenses, where these games can typically be won or lost. So all of these guys really going to have to step up. But I think the glaring difference, Tegan, the shots blocked, Pasilan, 20 between their two defensemen compared to just 8 between the two defensemen for HanaaHC. It's not something you see talked about too often, but it is something that can silently make a big difference for a team, not allowing that quality shot to get on your goalie. So Porto and your boy, that could be something that not only do they do well, but could help them out here against a Hana team that knows how to score, has a lot of chemistry. They can get shots on that as well when they do get that time on attack.
Brandon, you're absolutely right. 19 hits as well coming from Itsporo. So heavy, heavy, heavy as we pop over and take a look at who's going to be going head-to-head in between the pipes tonight.
And Tegan, it's like looking at a mirror between these two goalies. The only thing that really separates them is the record 0-1-1 to 2-0-0, but everything else exactly the same. And it's kind of hard to really judge a goalie this early in the season based on the stats, but it's interesting. Both of them have shown that they can step up and make some big saves for their teams early, even despite not having that large sample size. So goaltending gonna be big. It always is. You always see that one big save from one goalie or another that can really change the way a game goes, especially in a tight game. Which one of these guys is going to do it today? That's going to be a big question we're going to have answered here in these first two games.
And Brandon, we see it all the time. The goalies do play such a crucial part. A big save at one end with a massive goal on the other side.
Yeah, and it's something you and me talk about so much, how those plays can really change momentum. And you'll even hear some players say when our goalie makes a big save, it kind of energizes our team. You can even see a team that's down a little bit, kind of pinned in their own zone. Their goalie makes 2 or 3 big saves, and it kind of rejuvenates the team. And all of a sudden, they're the ones on the attack. That's what really makes that difference between having a goalie that might be okay, make some of the saves that he's supposed to, but not necessarily those big ones, compared to the elite goalies that are able to make those big saves, are able to come up in those clutch moments, because those are the saves that can sometimes really make that difference and push your team forward.
So the record, the only thing separating these two teams, so many block shots that we noticed for Pasilan. So do you think that makes a difference here, Brandon, with the goaltending being exactly the same?
I think it does, and it's for the reason that I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. When you are able to block more shots, that's less opportunities that your goalie is going to have to take, and more than likely, that's lessening the quality of opportunity that your goalie is going to have on net. So I think that any goalie is going to take all of the help he can get. If his two defensemen are going to be out in front, blocking shots, taking away those lanes, and kind of making HanaaHC, especially between those 3 forwards, kind of think a little bit more and kind of second guess that initial shot, I think that definitely helps as long as you are in position on your angles, which, to be honest with you, both of these goalies have proven that they are able to do such.
So their teams have matched here, Brandon. They are fired up and ready to go. I'm very excited to see how Hana comes out, as they are only sitting with 1 regulation loss here in week 1.
We kind of mentioned it, Hana team, like we said, kind of trying to come back with a vengeance. They were so good in the ECL Pro season last year, were a 2 seed in their group, but lost in round 1 to No Rex Gaming in an upset. So I think they feel like they have a little bit of something to prove this year. They may be underachieved to their expectations. Teams like that are so dangerous, especially in a league, like we said, that is really wide open for the taking. So HanaaHC, a great start. Gonna have to keep it up here with 2 big series here today.
They will have to keep it up as you see those series on your screen, as we're going to follow Hana all night here tonight, and that does make it very, very exciting here on Sports Gamer GG. This is the ECL Pro Division. We want to thank our amazing sponsors, and Kovalan Lakritzi, Wilhelm, and ST Hockey. Brandon, we are almost fired up and ready to go here in period number 1.
Yeah, and I can't wait, Tegan. This is going to be a really fun matchup. We kind of talked about how Pasilan and Hana kind of contrasting in the way that they start their seasons, but for Pasilan, a lot of close games, Hana, a good team. Do not sleep on this Pasilan team. I honestly wouldn't be shocked at all if they were maybe able to steal a game here.
I could see it for sure, especially from the defense side out, Brandon, as we start here with week number 2. We are fired up and ready to go. It sounds like puck drop is almost ready to go, and the game has started here, Brandon, and the puck is going to be brought in as we see we're watching from Pasilan. So that is going to be Hana in the red jerseys, Pasilan in the white. You see your respective lineups in the bottom left and right hand corners of your screen, and the puck is going to be held in there at the line. by Hana. Mika tried to get that one down, though. It's picked off by your boy. He fights on the right-hand side. Mika comes up with it, gets it over. Masin Toitano tried to get that one out, but it's going to be moved out here by Pasilan. Your boy, D to D. Over to Poro. They move that one up to Yane, but that puck's going to be taken back. Big hit there on the forward check, Brandon. We might see some more of that as we looked, and Pasilan very aggressive with the hits.
It's something that we talked about, especially with that defensive pair. They're not afraid to kind of get physical and throw that body around. Might be something that Hana might have to adjust here with a forward group that really likes to get into the offensive zone cleanly.
Yuki. D to D, back over to Yuki's. Yuki's carries that out for Hana up the left-hand side, looking for Masin Toitano, but that puck's going to be stripped and taken right back by Pasilan. Here's Masin Toitano. Tried to throw that one out front, but the puck is going to be held on by SKA. Here's Yuki's behind the net. He gets a pass back as Hana just trying to work that puck out. They finally do. Yuki. Good pass over as that puck's going to be brought in by Hana. They work it down low. Laiku back out into the middle. Puck is stripped, and here goes Pasilan. Masin Toitano in on the left-hand side. Back to the point. Poro fires that one on. We see another block there, Brandon. Shot on. Big save. It's loose, and on the left-hand side, Masin Toitano can stuff that one in. Here's it's Poro. Masin Toitano back to the point to your boy. Hazard Laser intercepts that one for Hana, and they bring it in. Good job to take that one right back. And Hazard Laser resets that in their own zone. And a great job by Pasilan to kind of get a strong start here, Brandon.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a much better start if you're Pasilan, and we saw a lot of what we talked about is here comes Hana.
It's a great job by Laiku. Laiku behind the net now, goes back to the point to Yuki's. Fires! Great save. And the puck is going to be carried out here by Pasilan, held into the line by Hana. Here's Laiku. Laiku looking out front, and the defenseman getting into it there is Rip Kesari. Had a great shot on, but a better save there by Veki Deki. And Hana goes D to D and works that one up. Laiku trying to drive the net. Great defense by Poro. And puck's brought in by Pasilan. Taken away by Laiku. Moves that back to the point. Right back to Laiku. Laiku. Into the middle to Mika. That one's stuffed there. Good play by Yane and Pasilan to play great defense. And they're doing a good job of stuff in the middle, not letting Hana get in there, Brandon.
Yeah, the defense has been really superb so far, really for both of these sides, and I was kind of mentioning it earlier, but for Pasilan SKA, we're kind of seeing a lot of what we talked about in the open, a lot of physicality, being aggressive with those hits, and a lot of blocked shots as well, so maybe not a goal yet for Pasilan, but a great defensive effort really from all five, and a few good saves as well from the back end really helps as well.
Yeah, great shots from the point there from Hana, from Rip Kesari, but I think we expected a little more offense out of Hana, Brandon, as we get a face-off here in the neutral zone. That's won by Pasilan SKA. Bumped off of the puck as Yuki's back with it. Drops to Rip Kesari. Rip Kesari plays that one up to Hazard Laser. Back to Yuki's. Yuki's down low to Laiku. Laiku from Mika, and they score!
How about that, Tegan? Your wish was their command. You said more offense. Hana gives us more offense with a big goal there with a minute left. We talk about it all the time. Those last-minute goals at the end of a period can be so big and really change the course of a game. Could that be what Hana needs to start to get this momentum going their way?
End of a first period. Great cut play, Brandon. I'm not sure if that went in off a defender, but nonetheless, that was a perfect cut play that ended up working and getting us into a 1-0 game here for Hana.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what Hana needed, and especially with Pasilan SKA playing the way that they were on that defensive end. We kind of talked about how they were stopping Hana from doing what they like to do, getting in the offensive zone and getting those shots on net by being aggressive with the body and going for those hits and being in front of those shooting lanes and taking those blocks. But finally, Hana able to open something up there with just a minute to go, and they converted on it right when they needed to. And honestly, I think they needed it with the way Pasilan SKA was playing. If they were able to get that first goal, that could have really bode well for them and taken that momentum.
Yeah, because Pasilan was doing a fantastic job of clogging the slot. They even did there, Brandon, and it ended up going in. So we're going to see the play from the left-hand corner. It's a great cut pass that ends up getting poked by both defensemen and going between the goalie's legs.
Yeah, and that's just a really unfortunate goal there if you're Veki Deki. Not really much you can do, and it's one of those things. I think you kind of mentioned the Tegan Pasilan SKA. They've done such a good job collapsing in front of the net, but unfortunately, with the way the puck bounces sometime in this game, that can come back to bite you if it takes that one little bump off of a skate or off of a stick. Unfortunately, there it did for them there, so they're down 1-0. But with the way they're playing, they can get back into this game. Just have to keep doing what they're doing in a positive way and hope that they can get something in on the offensive end.
As they do, as Hana comes in and Mika does a forehand wrap between the legs of Veki Deki, and it's a 2-0 game.
How about that there for Mika coming in and getting a quick goal as Hana just in a matter of moments, it went from being anyone's game and Pasilan SKA playing rather well, maybe outplaying Hana in the first half of the first period. All of a sudden, last minute of the first period they get a goal, first minute of the second they get a goal, both on the stick of Mika and Hana, setting themselves up well here early in the second period.
Well, the ECL Pro delivers once again, Brandon. I didn't even get to tell you that Hana was in red and Pasilan SKA was in white, but you saw the respective lineups in the bottom left and right-hand corner, and Pasilan's going to try and get back into one as Yane's in. Tried to get a pass in front to Kempanen. Yuki strips Kempanen of the puck, goes over to his partner Rip Kesari, and it's up the left-hand side to Hazard Laser. 2-on-1 possibly. He fires, and that one goes wide. There's Laiku trying to force that one up front. Good defense by Yane. Mika picks it up. Two-time goal scorer looking for that natural hat trick. But the puck is taken out. Kempanen to Yane. Mika strips him of the puck. Here's Laiku. Laiku backdoor. They're looking for Mika. And why not, Brandon? He's got the hot stick right now as he's got the puck again behind the net. Poked off his stick by Yavoy, but they send it over to Kempanen. Back behind the net as that one is going to be given away. Kempanen carries that one ahead. He's over the line, and that one's offside.
I think that Pasilan SKA really need to get a goal here soon, Tegan. You're kind of starting to see Hana getting going a little bit. It took them a little bit. There wasn't a lot of offense for them in the first 10 minutes, but you're really starting to see that skill and that chemistry that we talked about in the open really start to flourish. So if they go out 3-0, could be dangerous territory here for Pasilan SKA. Have to get the next goal here and have to play with some urgency here. Well.
Yeah, I can't agree more, Brandon. They have to come down and get something going here. They got to need something to build on, even maybe a big hit or something as Hazard Laser gets a shot on and looking to make it 3-0. That's not what they need.
Yeah, and I think you could add a big save to that list as well, as Veki Deki, a solid goalie, and it's something that we talked about as well in the open, that ability to make big saves and how that one big save can maybe turn the momentum in your favor. Could Veki Deki make that one to kind of help Pasilan SKA get that momentum back going the way they had it at the beginning of this game?
Rip Kesari moves that one ahead to Laiku to Hazard Laser. Hazard Laser spins and draws a penalty as he might have got right around that defender, so that might have been a good penalty to take, Brandon.
Yeah, you never want to go into the box, but if you're going to stop a clear-cut goaling opportunity, you don't hate it all that much. So a worse penalty to take if you're Pasilan SKA, but at the same time, you're already down 2-0. You put a really good HanaaHC team on the power play. Now it's really of the utmost importance that you play tight, your goalie makes great saves, you get the puck out of your zone as quick as possible.
One's going to be dumped all the way down, and oh boy, that would have been an interesting one to go in on SKA, because he had to be sharp there as it almost goes off the back wall and off his pad, and we've seen crazier things as Hana with 1 minute left here on the power play. Hazard Laser brings the puck in, easy entry back to Rip Kesari. Rip Kesari to the point to Yuki's, and he scores!
What a beautiful cycle there by HanaaHC, and we kind of talked about it, how this team was starting to get going and starting to buzz a little bit, as the kids may say. Well, you see an example of it right there, just a beautiful cycle, quick passes, and it's what the best teams do, Tegan. They're able to get that puck moving, able to get the defense spread out a little bit, and when they get that one opportunity, like, they put it on net, and more times than not, they take advantage of it. Their defenseman that time, and Yuki is able to do so right there, and HanaaHC in a grand position up 3-0.
You see the 1T X factor coming into play there, Brandon. It's a 3-0 game, and that's why HanaaHC is 5-1 with 10 points here at the beginning of week 2. There's Laiku over to Hazard Laser. Hazard Laser stripped to the puck by Massin Toitano. Kempanen, Massin Toitano drops that one for Yane. but too many red jerseys as Hana just closing in on that slot, and they get an easy entry the other way. Puck down low behind the net. It's Poro. Gets a retrieval pass from the winger, and here goes Massentoitano. Over to Kempanen. Kempanen back down to Massentoitano. He carries it into the slot. He's got a bit of room. Decides to go back to Kempanen. Kempanen behind the net to Yane. Yane, Kempanen. Good play by Yukis as he gets in the lane, intercepts, and sends it up the wall to Laiku. Laiku between the legs. What a move and what a save by Veki Deki as he flashes the leather.
Oh, and the skill just showing and pouring out there from HanaaHC and Laiku. If that would have gone in, it might have been the goal of the season. And we're only a week and some change in, Tegan. It's oh so close there from Laiku, but a better save there from Veki Deki.
What a move by Laiku as he goes between the legs to get around the defender and opened up a ton of space for himself. But Veki Deki said, not today. You may get around the defender, but not me. As he flashed the leather with a great glove save. And then Yane is going to try and work the other way. He's stripped of the puck by Yukis. Yukis for HanaaHC, bringing it out. Same pass up to Laiku. Laiku takes it into the right-hand corner. Looks to go behind the net. Huge hit there by Hazard Laser. He must have had the flashers on as he laid the body there. Here he comes bringing it into the zone. He gets it back right in front, trying to stuff that one in, but Veki Deki down, holding short side. 30 seconds to go here in the second period. Here's Kempanen. Just trying to get that one ahead, but it ends up being offside.
You know, Tegan, kind of looking at Hana here in the second period, and really since about the 8 to 9 minute mark of the first, it feels like the reason that they've been able to get going a little bit more is they've not really allowed Pasilan to get themselves into the offensive zone nearly as much as they started out in this period. Is kind of wind down here in the second, but I think you have to credit the defense. Pasilan it felt like they kind of hemmed themselves in the offensive zone through the first part of this game, and Hana didn't really have any answers for it. Now, all of a sudden, Hana really locking it in their own zone, turning really good defense into really good offense, and they're reaping the rewards of it with a 3-0 lead in the second.
Yeah, Mika's goal coming out in the first minute of that second period, Brandon, I think has a huge hand in that. We see it a lot of the time where those late period goals or early period goals can really change the momentum of the following period.
Absolutely, and I think that's why it's so big, not just that period or that period beginning goal in the second to make it 2-0, but the goal at the end of the first period with 1 minute and 1 second left for Hana to get that first goal. If they're not able to get that, who's to say that they come out of the second period with that same momentum, with that same juice that they had to begin that second? So it just kind of goes to show you, like we talked about, that one play can make that difference to sway the momentum one way or another. In this case, it was that opening goal from Mika. He got that goal at the end of the first and went right back at it at the beginning of the second to make it 2-0. Ever since then, they've had that momentum, and Pasilan just hasn't had an answer for it yet.
We'll see if we get one here in period number 3 at Sports Gamer GG. This is the ECL Pro week number 2, 5 total weeks here. This is Pasilan SKA versus HanaaHC. As you see the lineups in the bottom left right hand corner of your screen. Hana in red, Pasilan in white. As Hana's going to go to the penalty box here, Brandon, to start off the third period, and this could be a good start for Pasilan.
We talked about momentum. What a better way to switch the momentum in your favor than to capitalize potentially on the power play. Pasilan 20% to start on the season, but they're going up against a team that's been good on the PK in the first week at 91.67% in HanaaHC. But Pasilan SKA, you have to take advantage of these chances, especially being down 3-0 in this third period.
Those are some good numbers as Hazard Laser gets that one ahead as he comes back as the winger to help out. Now we have a 2-on-1 the other way. Laiku into the middle of Mika, and he can't backhand that one in. Great save, Veki Deki, stopping Mika from getting that hat-trick goal. There's an Omaha play the other way, Brandon. Stick lift, the puck is still live. It gets poked by Hazard Laser, so the puck's going to stay alive. That one gets sent down. There's Massentoitano bringing it in, but he's offside, and this hasn't been the power play Pasilan likes.
Yeah, not many opportunities at all, and it just kind of goes to show you how much HanaaHC is really improved from the start of the game on, from not allowing Pasilan SKA to really get into the offensive zone and get anything generated. And you kind of hope for them that maybe they could use this power play to get some momentum going. Well, so far, not much luck.
That puck is going to be lifted and dumped all the way down the ice. It almost looked like it was a power play for Hana there, Brandon, as we'll talk a little bit more about that before the next game. As Yane brings that puck in, he's stripped, and Mika takes it away, and it's a 3-on-1. Mika with Laiku hits Hazard Laser, and a great toe save by Veki Deki as he got a shot from the high slot. Hazard Laser trying to wrap that one back over to the left-hand side, but it's going to be Yane who spin passes over to Masan Toitano, who has the lane, but too many red jerseys once again, Brandon, and it gets moved around on the breakout to Laiku. Laiku brings it in, he's offside.
Yeah, and you know, Tegan, you kind of talked about how HanaaHC, they turned their penalty kill more into a power play, but we talked about it a little bit, and we kind of mentioned it again, but they just had that ability to turn their good defense into good offense. They haven't let Pasilan really get into the offensive zone and get any chances going, and I think proof of that is the shots on net. When's the last time we've really heard SKA Etika's name and him making a big save? It's not because of anything he hasn't done, it's what the defense in front of him have done. They haven't allowed Pasilan SKA to get many shots on net, so therefore there hasn't been much action for the goaltending, and they've been able to turn that good defense into good offense, and we know how good of an offensive team Hana is. When they're able to put good defense with it, really, really tough team to beat.
There's a great toe save from Veki Deki as he robs Hazard Laser from a horrible angle, but he gets in that spread eagle animation and makes a fantastic save as we see another delayed penalty here to Hana, but what a save by Veki Deki.
And Veki Deki, I know it's maybe not been the most ideal game for him with the scoreline being what it is, but he's made some pretty good saves for this Pasilan SKA team, and that big save turned into that power play opportunity here for his team as well, and that's another example we talked about, Teague, and how big saves can turn into opportunities for your team. It does right here, and there's still a little bit of time left. If Pasilan can maybe get a quick goal here, they're right back into this one.
Ziane is going to try as he gets that back to the point to Itsporo. Itsporo tried to do a little give and go play with the one-timer that we did see from Hana tonight, and they scored on it. Because that was Yuki's goal, as Masan Toitano brings it back. Down to Kempanen. Takes a retrieval pass over to Itsporo. Fires, and a great save by Esko Atika as he's been perfect tonight.
Yeah, and that was a big save there. I gotta mention how we hadn't heard his name much due to the great defense. Well, when we have heard his name, it's been a big save that he's made. Another example of that with that nice glove save there.
Puck's poked loose behind the net. Ripke Sari turns that one over. It's going to be held in at the line by Itsporo. Itsporo shoots, and a good pad toe save by goaltender Esko Atika. As it looks like they're running your boy down in front of the net on the power play here. They're putting Masan Toitano back to the point, and that's a very interesting strategy here, Brandon.
Yeah, that's right D up, left wing back, which is pretty intriguing on a power play where normally you would kind of see the winger try to set up for that one-timer or for that potential high chance scoring opportunity. Kind of interesting to see that defenseman show up high in the play rather than maybe even all four, considering they're down 3-0 and maybe need to play the cards a little bit more aggressively than normal.
Right, we're kind of used to seeing that high umbrella on the power play instead of the low umbrella like we were seeing there with the three gentlemen down low instead of having the one guy up high with the two one-timers like you're speaking of as that puck gets brought in. Good play by Yane to intercept the pass. As Mika still looking for his hat trick. Hazard Laser has it poked off his stick. We're going to see another power play here, but it's going to go to Hana this time.
Yeah, the special teams have been out in full force here since the middle of the second period. We saw a few power play chances for Pasilan. We saw the first one of the day from Hana, and now we'll see another one for HanaaHC here. And now at this point, a little bit under 6 minutes to go, you have a 3-0 lead. Really just a matter of not making mistakes, controlling that possession, and then I think none of these players on HanaaHC would complain about maybe one more goal either.
Ripke Sari is going to try to get it in, but it's going to be taken in. Oh, no, it is on. No, it is offside. I didn't see the warning pop up there, Brandon, but only 5:36 to go, and has Hana ever been good?
Oh, they've been amazing, and we kind of talked about how they had such a great season last season. They've started out so well this season. They're kind of just showing why they've been one of the better teams in the Pro Division last year and going into this season. This is a team that has had high expectations, and we know that when they're on, they are a force to be reckoned with that could maybe put themselves in that conversation of being promoted into the Elite Division. We're seeing flashes of that here in this game. We're going to see even more here as this broadcast goes on.
Looking to go 6-1 to start off week 2 is Mika back to the point. Here's Yuki's. He's got a goal on the night. Sends that back over. What a pass in front. The backhand's there. And another shot by Laiku. But Veki Deki, despite the score, Brandon, has been absolutely fantastic here for Pasilan.
Yeah, full-time goalie, part-time breakdancer on that one. He was going all over the place to save that puck, but luckily did not find its way past that red line. And Veki Deki, despite the score, like you mentioned, it's been spectacular. It's another big save for him there. And it's kind of interesting. You kind of feel for a goaltender in this situation where you're doing everything you can, but just the team that you're playing against just that little bit better in Hana, the way they've been able to establish the offensive zone and create chances for themselves. Just so little you can do as a goalie, despite how well Veki Deki has played here in this game 1.
As he might be a full-time breakdancer, part-time goalie, depends who you ask, because that puck's going to be D-to-D and brought in here by Pasilan. Taken away by Hana. Hana trying to force it in. Now Mika battling for it. We're going to see another power play here for Hana, Brandon, as it just goes from bad to worse here for Pasilan.
Yeah, the black and white stripes have been plenty involved the last couple of periods, and obviously Pasilan, you know, you probably figure are not going to be able to come back in this game given the time, but you don't want to have a game end in a negative way. But the one thing I think you can give them credit for, that penalty kill has been pretty solid so far in this game. They've only allowed 1 goal, and Hana has had a few chances so far here in this game, so we'll see if they can keep that up here and maybe get something positive going into this game too.
As Hana just robbed, as Laiku had a one-timer play, but Veki Deki gets the blocker out and absolutely stones him as Laiku bringing it back in. Played a little forehand play, but can't get around the defenders. As that one's shot off the center Mignane and held in. Puck loose out front, but Veki Deki holds on, and he's just trying to get some momentum built to get him into game 2, like you said, Brent.
Yeah, and I think Veki Deki, plenty of momentum going for himself. I think the big question is, how are the 5 in front of him going to respond here in this next game? Just not a lot of offensive generation past the first 6 to 7 minutes of that first period, where it kind of felt like they were the ones in control of the game, getting some of those quick passes in that dominant cycle. But after that, HanaaHC just flipped the switch and woke up, and it just felt like Pasilan was not able to generate anything since. So we'll see if they can get something going, but Hana right now just on full force attack.
Yuki's. Little give and go play, looking for that one-timer that they were successful on earlier. As Mika comes in and he scores, he gets his hat trick with the close quarters perk in the slot.
An unfortunate goal there for Veki Deki yet again, but Mika not complaining, a hat trick for the centerman, and what a game that he has had, and the way he contributed. You kind of attested to it earlier, Tegan. His first 2 goals is really what changed this game for HanaaHC when they didn't really have a lot going, when Pasilan was sort of controlling the game in the beginning, and then it kind of went to the middle for both sides, and either could have really taken it. Mika was the guy to step up. So fitting to see him get that hat trick late in the game and put his team up 4-0 late in the third.
He definitely deserves it, Brandon, as he was the gentleman to come out and get that late period goal that we spoke about that was crucial. And then he also scored the goal in the first minute of the second period. So very well deserving as he brings that puck up, sends it over to Laiku, but it's taken away by your boy. Up the left-hand side. Good play there by Masintoitano. He walks and fires, and good save there as SKA wanted to hold on to that with 7 seconds remaining.
And that's not the only thing he wanted to hold on to, but I dare not say that word, sir.
I just about muted you, Brandon, is making me nervous there as we get a face-off in the offensive zone. That one's won, and Yuki's is just going to help out his goaltender, Brandon, and I think it's safe to say that SKA is going to walk away with a well-deserved shutout as HanaaHC takes game number 1 of this best-of-2 series that we're filming here.
It's one of the top rules in virtual hockey, real hockey, especially if you're a broadcaster. You don't say shutout until it actually happens. How dare anyone do that? But he clinches it there, as you mentioned, Tegan, and a well-deserved shutout. And how about Hana just really, from top to bottom, 1 through 6, a great game overall. The 3 forwards that we talked about, having that chemistry, being able to play as well as they have in the past, really showing off that chemistry in that and that skill from the end of the first period on. And the defense as well, not really allowing Pasilan to get into the offensive zone after the first few minutes and kind of locking that down after it felt like Pasilan SKA were the aggressors to start this game out. Hana found a way to stop that momentum, stagnate that offense. And then whenever Pasilan was able to get those chances, we mentioned the goaltender, he was able, Esko Etika, making those big saves and really showing up big when Hana needed him to. Just a really good, complete effort from this HanaaHC team, and it's what any hockey coach loves to see. It's what any HanaaHC fan wants to see. A great way to start this day out with a 4-0 win.
A massive, massive 4-0 win, Brandon. And look at the shot, 17-6. 4 goals for Hanas. We're going to get a look at some of them now. As we'll pop into this first one here. And, there's just nothing better, Brandon, and getting a look at how these goals went in. And as I think it might actually be bugged out a little bit for him. There he goes. This is going to be the one that started it all off here, Brandon.
Yeah, and now it's just a great move there by Mika. That one little L1 move, LT, depending on what console you may or may not play on, to kind of create that extra space to get that play off. And it's little moves like that that can really make that difference between getting the space to get that shot off or maybe getting that shot blocked and not getting that chance whatsoever. So a really high IQ play from Mika to kind of know when to use that move to create that space. Had nothing but an open net in front when to put it in after that. And that's really what kickstarted that HanaaHC momentum. After that goal, it just felt like they never looked back.
And Brandon, after tonight, he is going to have 8 goals in 7 games. So anytime your center is coming in and scoring at least a tally per game, you're set up in a pretty good scenario.
Yeah, and it's what we talked about with Mika is how he has that ability to really contribute, not just on a passing end and on a defensive end, but he's a guy that can put the puck in the net and put it in plenty. That 8-goal mark would actually put him, from what I'm counting, at around the top 10 in the league, around 3rd or 4th, depending on if you count those long ties or not. Yeah. So he's a guy that's really had a hot start, maybe one of the better centermen in the league through the first 9 games or so, when he's really shown why, and we saw a lot of it there in that game 1, to be able to contribute in a way to get that momentum going and to really put more of an emphasis on it, to double down on that and get another one to start the second period. After that, I felt like Hana never looked back. Every aspect of their game got better from that point forward, and it all happened because they got that first goal and got that momentum going for themselves.
Well, HanaaHC comes out with a bang here to start out the ECL Pro Week 2. We're going to come back and see if they can carry it on after we get a quick word from our... And we are back. Brandon here at the ECL Pro. I am Tegan. It's King Lime Blair. He is Brandon B. Major Bigsby. We are here at sportsgamer.gg, and we are tuning into some great hockey. Hana cleaning up game 1 4-0 there, Brandon, seeing if they can do it here in game number 2.
Yeah, and they did it in style there, Tegan. We kind of talked about they struggled a little bit to start out that game, and we talked about a Pasilan SKA. They're a team that, even though they might not have the record, they had played in a lot of close games. We talked about 5 of their 7 games being decided by just 1 goal. So a play here and a play there. They're a 500-plus team potentially, but Hana just showing why they are as good as they are, why they were seen as maybe a favorite to be one of the top teams in the Pro Division this season, the way they can play well defensively and use that to go up in the offensive zone and just really hem a team in their own zone. And they're just so hard to stop. They're so aggressive, the way they're able to attack in their offensive zone and get that offense going. It's so fun to watch and so difficult to play against. When they are on like they were there from the second period on, that is one of the best teams in the Pro Division. We saw why right there.
One thing I want to touch on both teams that I saw that was very interesting in that first game, Brandon, that we don't see a lot is Pasilan doing that reverse umbrella there on the power play where they were moving the right Dianya boy in front of the net, and then Masentoitano was coming back to the point.
Yeah, it's a pretty unorthodox strategy, and more times than not, when it is tried, it's a defenseman that is a little bit more offensive that is going to come up for that play. It's a guy that has that offensive upside that can score like a forward would, and you saw your boy go up and Masentoitano go back. they were down 3-0, so maybe just trying to switch something up, knowing that your boy has that offensive skill in him to maybe give them that little bit of a surge that they had, especially when their first few power plays hadn't been as successful. So it's kind of interesting to see them be able to switch that up a little bit. Could be something to look out for, but Pasilan SKA, regardless, whether it be 5-on-5, 5-on-4, they're going to have to find a way to score a shutout in that last game and didn't have any answers for Hana really past that first 10 minutes.
As Brandon, we will have more information on this here, as there is a 4v4 Chell tournament coming up, isn't there, that you can go to sportsgamer.gg to find out all about and sign up today.
Wilhelm E-Hockey Tour, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and it's going to be a tournament that anyone can sign up for. Keep in mind, from ECL Light down, you don't even have to be signed up for ECL to sign up for this tournament. Not only that, but a chance to win 10,000 euros, so a fun tournament, a big prize. And Tegan, unfortunately, I'm not in Europe, neither are you, but I have to be honest with you, I'd want to sign up for that one if it were me.
VPN, my dog. I'm just kidding. As I would love to be a part of that. As SportsGamer does nothing short of amazing everything here, Brandon, as we're going to dive into the ECL Pro, game number 2 of our evening. 4 games total. This one is Hana versus Pasilan. As we get right down to ice level here, we have Pasilan now is going to be in the blue jerseys, with Hana repping the white, seeing if maybe the red carries on the traits here, Brandon. As Toitano brings that in, it's going to be poked off his stick and carried right back out to the neutral zone. It's Poro back to Toitano. He dumps it in right hand side. Yukis gets there first here for Hana. He tried to send it up to Laiku. Can't connect, as we've seen that a lot in game number 1. They like to go up that right-hand side to Laiku, don't they, Brandon?
Yeah, it's kind of been their bread and butter on the breakout, and it's been interesting because, like you said, they haven't really strayed from that at all. Sometimes you'll see a team favor one side of the ice, maybe a little bit more than the other, but they'll throw it down to the center if they need to, just to keep a team honest. It's been more of kind of the same thing here for Hana so far, but you can't complain. It's worked for them so far in their entries.
Here's Mika, the hat-trick goal scorer. Gets that one back to the point to Rip Kesari. Nice little toe play in the slot, as you usually see that in front, and there's a goal as the right winger Hazard Laser comes in and puts that in 5-hole, and almost exactly the same goal that we saw in period number 1 of game number 1.
Yeah, Tegan, you're not watching a replay. This is game 2, and like you mentioned, a similar goal to how we started game 1 of the series. We get it right here again in game 2. Just a nice play there from Hana, using that space, getting that pass through, and Hazard Laser, right place, right time to receive that pass and put it past the goaltender and Veki Deki there. And once again, HanaaHC starting out the right way with a 1-0 lead.
Here's Yukis, brings that one ahead to Mika, who forwards it to Laiku. Good job by ya boy as he gets that down low to his partner. It's Poro. Oh, dangerous spot to take the puck, though, Brandon, on the breakout, as that one goes directly in front. But they got away with a quick one there to Team Pasilan. As Laiku breaks all the way through, but a great save by Veki Deki as he chose the right side and stuffs Laiku. Here's its Poro, back to Toitano. He puts that one on. Great glove save by Eskoatika. Mika trying to get that puck out. Yane takes it away, and Pasilan starting this first period out exactly like they did last time, with a bunch of aggression here, Brandon.
Yeah, they're not afraid to get in the team's face, and they've kind of shown that whether they're up 3-0 or down 3-0, they're going to be aggressive, and they're not going to stray away from that. It takes a little bit of time to adjust from that, and it might be why Hana started out a little bit slower, but they've adjusted well, and Pasilan SKA now drifting away from that game plan.
As Toitano takes that puck in the breakout, gets it over to Kempanen, but he loses the puck. Loiku, Mika over to Hazard Laser, the goal scorer. Back to Yukis, he shoots! Great block there by Yane. And Yane gets that one over to Toitano. He drops it, but the puck is given away. Yukis gets it, and they go up to Laiku as they love that play. But ya boy, I think he noticed it too, Brandon, as he's stuffing it up on the right-hand side.
Yeah, you know, you see players, especially high IQ players, have played this game long enough. When they start to know its tendencies, they'll pick up on it and get a little bit aggressive themselves when they kind of read that out. You saw your boy do that there. It paid off and cost that turnover.
There's an offside here as Pasilan's going to have to tag up. But you're absolutely right. We saw your boy do it again as you were talking. He gets another poke check and takes it away, Brandon. He's doing a fantastic job of textbook right D as he breaks the puck out for Pasilan. Goes into the middle, but that one's given away. Hazard laser back to Yuki's. Breaks it out for Hana. HanaaHC claps that one down the left-hand side, still onto the stick of Laiku. What a saucer pass, but a better save as Laiku was absolutely robbed by Veki Deki. Puck the other way. Kampanen into the middle to Yane. Oh, close in front there. Kampanen takes it right back. Poke checked off his stick, but Masson Toitano gets it back to Itsporo. Fired on, blocked by Yuki. And here goes to HanaaHC. Hazard laser. Back to Laiku. Laiku point and another huge save. Veki Deki putting the team in the backpack in the first period with multiple massive saves. Kampanen dumps that one in. It's taken by Rip Kasari. Going up the right-hand side. Good play by your boy. In front shot is on, but a good save there by SKA.
There might be 4.6 seconds left, but Pasilan SKA, whether it be in this 4.6 or sometime soon at the beginning of the second period, they've got to find a score for that back end. Veki Deki and the defense have been phenomenal here in this first period.
Puck poked to the line. It's Poro. Brings that in with not much time left, but, you know, a great period by Veki Deki and Pasilan.
Absolutely, and honestly, with the way Hana played, they could very well be up 2-0 or even 3-0 in the first period. This game, a few huge saves, a couple of breakaway saves, and you mentioned his name a few times, but how about your boy kind of shutting down that breakout that we saw on that right side? We talked about how Hana was kind of force-feeding Laiku, so to speak, on that breakout, and they weren't really drifting away from it. Well, just like we noticed it, your boy noticed it, and your boy making plays for Pasilan on that right side defense, and it's turned into some turnovers, and therefore those turnovers have turned into opportunities for Pasilan. Now the question is, how can they break past the goaltending in SKA, and how can they find a way to put the puck in the net for straight scores periods? But the goaltending playing well, the defense making really good stops in the back end as well to support that. Just have to find that scoring touch to break this drought.
If Hana keeps playing like this, it's only a matter of time till it is 2 or 3-0 here, Brandon. Veki Deki can make great saves, but I don't know how long he can keep up acrobatic after acrobatic save as we start period 2 of game number 2. Hana against Pasilan. You see your respective lineups in the bottom left and right hand corner of your screen here at Sports Gamer GG in the ECL Pro. Puck is back out, your boy over to Kampanen, drops that back to Itsporo. It's Poro. Tried to get that one through Laiku with a great job in the back end. He's very good in the offensive zone, and he also comes back in the defensive zone, a textbook left winger. As Yane gets that one ahead to Kampanen. Kampanen dumps that one in left-hand side. Yane is first to the puck. He's bumped off the puck. Great hit by Rip Kesari. But Yane picks it back up over to Kampanen, who tried to wrap it around. It goes right through, but a good pinch there by Itsporo. Kampanen. Good passing here by Pasilan as they get a backhand shot on from the high slot, but a great save by SKA.
Pasilan, they're getting some chances here, and I love that you mentioned, Tegan, that they kind of need to get something going. Well, that's kind of what they need to get that goal in. They're getting some chances, just have to find a way to capitalize here.
Huge face-off play there as we see the face-off one, the cut play, the shot is on, great save SKA, the rebound comes out, another huge save by SKA, and he is just carrying on great save after great save from the first game. As that face-off is going to be tied up, but it's won by Pasilan. Yukis takes it away, he just dumps that one out as the pressure here against Hana is overbearing. They just need to slow it down and start playing their game. Hazard laser drops that one for Rip Kesari. They're offside, and I think Hana is stuck here.
Yeah, and I think you really have to credit Pasilan for some of the adjustments that they made. They've really started to lock it down here in the second period and towards the end of that first period defensively, more so like they were doing at the start of that game one that they weren't able to sustain. So now you have to see, can they score, and how can Hana respond offensively, because kind of similar to how Veki Deki, you said he couldn't keep making these big saves, have to wonder how long SKA can keep this up as well on the other end.
Yeah, it's like a flip of a coin as the period changes. Is a great shot by Toitano from the high slot, and it was all Hana period 1. It's been all Pasilan SKA period 2.
Yeah, but like we said, that one goal being the difference, despite all of the zone time, despite all of these opportunities, Pasilan SKA, they have to find a way to get the goal in the net.
There's another great save by SKA. Huge one from the right-hand side. Kampanen fires it on. Yane tries to shovel shot it on. And you know what, Brandon? I'm thinking the same thing Pasilan is. At this point, you just got to throw every puck on net with a hope and a prayer. As the puck goes up the left-hand side, Toitano to Kampanen. Kampanen shoots, and it's a save again from SKA.
Egan, you know, Gretzky said it best. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Well, Pasilan SKA, they're taking it to the next level. When they get into the zone, they aren't wasting much time. They're putting it right on net. It's just SKA has been on top every single shot. 6 shots already here in the first 10 minutes of the second.
Another huge face-off play gets robbed by SKA. As we see the regular tie-up hit the winger backdoor play, and it's absolutely robbed. Hana needs to build on something for their goaltender. All 12 minutes of this second period has been Pasilan SKA. Puck up the right-hand side. They get it to Laiku. How they like to do. Drop back to Mika. Mika tries to send it to the point. Can't connect. It's Poro with great defense, and Pasilan SKA's gone. Toitano trying to make a move around the defender. Can't get around, and Hana's going to carry it up. Laiku. Back to the point to Yuki's. He's poke checked. Good force on the D by Pasilan SKA. Hana trying to bring that puck out. They look for Laiku. They love that breakout on the right-hand side, but it just hasn't been connecting. They get in through Hazard Laser as he sends that one around to Laiku. Laiku in the right-hand corner, out to Hazard Laser, back to the point to Yuki's. Good play back to Laiku. The passing is clean, but a great trip there, as that was a for sure goal for Hana. As I'm not sure who took that penalty, but it was a good one. Mika has it in the slot, makes the pass over to Hazard Laser, but it's stopped, and we'll see a power play here for Hana.
That was the first glimpse of what we saw from Hana in game 1 there, that last 3 or 4 minutes. Just beautiful passing between all 5 players and opened up that space to where Pasilan had no choice but to take that penalty. Otherwise, it's a wide open chance on their goaltender, Vekideki, and a pretty difficult save for them to make. Now they kind of stave that momentum off and get themselves a chance to double this lead.
And they do in a gorgeous spin pass in front of Mika, and he scores 5-hole.
That is exactly what the doctor ordered for Hana, losing the momentum a little bit. Pasilan SKA starting to play a little bit better and starting to feel themselves. Their goaltender, though, in SKA, made the saves, staved off the run, and Hana got things going once again to get that penalty and capitalized on it in a huge moment. Now they've really put themselves in a good position.
Face-off is won here by Hana, and it was all Pasilan SKA through the first... Brandon, 16 minutes of this second period, and Hana has just come back, scored, and Pasilan SKA feels like they've taken maybe 1 step forward, 2 steps back, Brandon, as Toitano up the left-hand side, gives that one away to Mika, and Yuki's over to his partner, Rip Kesari, poke checked off, Toitano, Kampanen shoots, and I think that got a piece with SKA, but then went off the bar. As that one's thrown all the way down, icing going to be called off, and that's going to do it here for period number 2.
Yeah, and Tegan, I think you said it best, and I'd have to agree with you. Pasilan SKA, it was their period, the entire second period, about 15 minutes through, and I think you could probably say the tail end of that first period was all Pasilan as well, about 5 to 10 minutes through that first period after Hana got that opening goal, and you know, you just kind of have to feel for Pasilan SKA in a game like this. They're playing well defensively. They really have improved from game 1 in just about every aspect. Their goaltender and Vekideki making phenomenal saves. The defense playing well in front of them, getting shots on net. But just not able to see the puck go through and not able to beat the opposing goalie in SKA. And it's just been one of those games for them so far, and you have to give Hana a lot of credit, despite not having the momentum for a lot of this game, just kept at it, didn't let the game get away from them. SKA making the saves he needed to make, and they find their way to a 2-0 lead despite all of that, and put themselves in a really good position going into this third period.
Period number 3 here at sportsgamer.gg in the ECL Pro. We want to thank our amazing sponsors in Kovalan Lakritsi, Wilhelm, and SD Hockey. We're here with HanaaHC against Pasilan SKA, as you see their respective lineups in the bottom right and left-hand corners of your screen. Pasilan SKA in blue, Hana in white. Here's Laiku, brings that in. Good job by your boys. He continues to stuff Laiku on the right-hand side. Here's Kempanen. Kempanen comes into the zone, drops that one back to Poro, takes a retrieval pass, but he's going to be poke checked. Good job by Kempanen. Yane. Yane, back to the point. It's Poro tipped, and they score! That's what Pasilan needs! As a tip chance in front makes this a 2-1 game. And what a tip by Massin Toitano, as that shot comes from Poro, and just great position there by Massin Toitano to be in front. And they beat SKA with a high tip, and that's gotta be the only way to beat this, man, is they've put shot after shot after shot on net, and Pasilan SKA and Massin Toitano get themselves back and cut that deficit in half. As that puck's going to be played in front, and Brandon, we see a great tip that goes past SKA, and it was kind of expected that it was going to be a tip or a bounce that beats him, as he's played so good tonight.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal in this game, to say the least. And, you know, we kind of said it with the way that they've been putting shots on net. You kind of just have to hope that one goes in, and it couldn't have come for a better time for Pasilan this game. Down 2-0. They cut the deficit in half. And with the way they're playing, they have a good chance there with a lot of time left to go in the third.
As they're just building on the first 16 minutes of that second period, Brandon. It was a gorgeous tip. It ends up beating SKA up high, and now they go back to work. As that one closes, SKA had to be sharp, as it just kind of creeped in. And those are the goals that are going to go in on him, Brandon. He's been so good at stopping everything. It's going to be tips. It's going to be bounces. It's going to be plays like that, as that puck goes through the middle. Carried in, Laiku. Back to Rip Kesari, takes a retrieval pass to Laiku, up to Mika. They love to go to Laiku on the breakout. Rip Kesari behind the net to Laiku. Tried to go back, but the player he was trying to pass to was on the ground. As backhand shot on by the defenseman Rip Kesari coming in, as he goes back, picks up the puck and goes to Hazard Laser. Sends that over. Laiku trying to bring that in. Yane doing a good job. 200-foot center, playing good in front of the hash marks, in front of his goaltender. As it's Poro. Yane moves that one up to Kempanen. Kempanen shoots, and it one's blocked. As lots of block shots for both of these respective teams. More for Pasilan, and we haven't seen much of that here, Brandon.
Yeah, and it's been pretty interesting, especially with the way that this game has played out. And Pasilan, they're starting to get something going, but they found that one goal. They're going to have to hope that they can find another one quicker than they found their first. Only 7:49 to go, and HanaaHC, with the goaltending they've had, with the defense they've been able to put forth, they're going to have to find that second goal here and quick, because they are still down by 1, and HanaaHC, they can respond in a minute.
And down by 2 now, Brandon, as we see a goal from the other side. It was Yuki's in game 1. This time the big slap shot comes from Rip Kesari, and Hana extends their lead.
Yeah, and that is exactly what Hana needed. Right when Pasilan found a way to get back into this game, Hana snatches it right away from their clutches a few minutes later, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of everything from Hana. They found a way to win convincingly in game 1. They see a little bit of adversity here in game 2 of Pasilan playing the way they're playing, finding a way to come back, cutting that lead in half. But Hana just continuing to do the job that they've done so well, finding space, creating chances, and scoring on those chances. They do so there, and now they put themselves in prime position to take this one home potentially.
As we'd love to give a big thank you to Eki for bringing that raid in. Is everybody from Eki's stream? Eki, I hope you had an amazing stream. We are here at the ECL Pro Week 2. Is Hana taking game 1 against Pasilan, and they are ahead 3-1 here in game number 2. As D2D pass here from Pasilan. Yuki sends that one up the boards. It's going to be stripped of the puck by It's Poro for Pasilan. Over to Kempanen, looking back door for Masintoitano, but a good poke check by the goal scorer, Rip Kesari, as he gives that one away to Kempanen, but takes it right back. His partner Yukis comes back to help out, but Yane takes it away. Kempanen shoots from the short side, and a good save by Eskoatika.
Pasilan Scott taking that same strategy and emphasizing on it even more, just trying to put the puck on net as much as they can, down by 2, time not on their side, just trying to get something going for themselves. But once again, just the opposing goaltending, just absolutely amazing from Eskoatika, and he's just been absolutely unreal so far as a DT, and just everything that seems to come his way, he finds a way to save.
It's been amazing also to watch Hana kind of adapt, as Pasilan has really took advantage of them not being able to use that right-hand side on the breakout, Brandon. They love doing that, but it's a great job by Hana to adjust and still find a way to fight through this game, as this puck's going to be brought all the way up, poke checked off eventually by Masintoitano, and it's Poro. Sends that one in deep. It could be too far, and it will be for icing.
And Tegan, I love that you said that, because I think what we talked about with Hana coming in, with them being one of those teams that kind of find themselves on that cusp between being at the top of pro, finding their way to elite. Can they be one of the top teams in the pro division? Well, if you want to be one of those elite teams, you have to find ways to adapt when what you want to do isn't working. The best teams are able to do that. Hana showing that ability to be able to adapt on the fly, to make those adjustments and execute those, that really shows and attests to the type of team that they are and how good they truly are as a unit. So that to me is even more impressive than winning 4-0 the way they did in that first game. A lot to say there.
As Mika almost with the breakaway chance, it's going to be shoveled on in front by Laiku, and Hana still just keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes for HanaaHC, and you can't blame them. They're up 3-1, lead rather secure here at this point in the game. Why not try to tack on one more? No lead is ever too safe if you ask HanaaHC. Still trying to get one more on the board, and I'd do the same. Can't even blame him for that.
Kempanen, over to your boy. Tried to play that out front. Yuki's intercepts here for Hana, and they go up the left-hand side. Hazard Laser looking for a pass. It goes too far and out of his reach. And with 10 seconds to go, your boy looks for an Omaha play, maybe to get one early here. The puck is still free, as it's loose in front. The shot by Yane goes wide, and that's going to do it here. And in both games for HanaaHC versus Pasilan SKA, Hana's going to take them both here and extend their record to a 7-1-0.
You said it earlier, Tegan, they've only lost one game so far in the early stages of this campaign, and it stays that way in the first 2 games here we're seeing from them today, and in both, a little bit different, but still impressive. Nevertheless, HanaaHC dominant in game 1 after that first period, and really just continued that on in game 1, while in game 2, Pasilan kind of had the momentum for a lot of this game, got things going, found ways to adjust themselves and stop what Hana was doing so well in that game 1, and it kind of caused HanaaHC to look in the mirror a little bit and adjust themselves and find different ways to beat Pasilan SKA, and they were still able to do it. They stopped that breakout on the right side, so they went through the middle a little bit more. They would give it over to the left. The defenseman would even carry it up a little bit more to break through the offensive zone, and like I was kind of mentioning earlier, to me, that's more impressive than winning a game 7-0, 8-0. That's showing what you already do well. It's a whole different story to show that you can adjust on the fly when what you do well isn't working and find a way to execute on that game plan. Games like this, to me, are what can kind of show you which teams can compete for a championship and which teams are kind of just there. HanaaHC isn't just there. This is a team that can compete. They're showing that so far today.
The best teams is we get to look at the replays on some of the goals here, Brandon, but the best teams is just the teams that adapt during the game. As a caster, you love seeing the game within the game, Brandon, as you're just articulating it so well. And you're absolutely right. They adapted. Your boy was shutting down Laiku on that breakout. We saw it all game. Game one, they weren't able to do it in game two. And for them to adapt and use the defense to come out, they did not go up to Hazard Laser too many times, Brandon. It was more through Mika and the defense carrying it in. And that is the difference between good teams and great teams.
Yeah, and it's not a bad strategy if you can't go through Laiku. Why not go through the guy that gave you 3 goals in game one in Mika to try to carry your offense through a little bit more than he already has? We saw him offensively do things well when they were already set up in the offensive zone, but Mika's one of those guys. He has that skill, as he's shown a few times, to take it in the offensive zone himself, to create a play, not just for himself, but for his teammates as well. And I know we're obviously giving Hana their flowers for the way they adjusted, but I think you have to give Pasilan a lot of credit as well. You mentioned that they adjusted really well to what Hana did well in that game one, shutting down that breakout to Laiku, kind of seeing what they were doing and adjusting to that. They were the better team really throughout most of this game. They just weren't able to find enough scores, and the goaltending from SKA was just too good to really break past. But Pasilan SKA, they did a good job adjusting themselves, just Hana a little bit better, had that little bit more to find themselves to a win. So an impressive 2 games for them. We're going to see 2 more here in a little bit, but HanaaHC, 4 out of 4 points to start out. Can't complain about that if you're them.
Yeah, Brandon, I think you hit the nail right on the head with that one. If that's not a 6-1 team, I think it's a different ballgame. Pasilan really turned it on. We saw 16 minutes of all gas, no breaks from them. Moss and Toitano was doing a fantastic job firing on all cylinders. We saw shots coming from the point, but SKA was just absolutely phenomenal, and he definitely put the team on his back for those 16 minutes, and then Hana was just able to turn it on, get a few goals, and get a win for their goaltender.
Yeah, and I think the games like that so rewarding for a goaltender, especially if you're Esko Etika, to play that well, to make those big saves. And like we mentioned, you have to remember there was a long period of time where they were only up 1-0, and in that second period, Pasilan SKA, they had like 7 or 8 shots to none. They were all over HanaaHC throughout most of that second period, and the big saves from Esko Etika really is what put them through to get that second goal. He made a big save. They went back on the other end after being hemmed in their own zone for a long period of time, drew that penalty, and then took advantage on the power play. But none of that happens if you don't make those big saves on the other end. So never say that goaltenders cannot change the course of the game. You saw it right there, but if you're Pasilan SKA, a lot to build off from that second game, and I know it's been a rough start to the season for them, but if they can build on the way they played there in that second game against what I think could be a top team this season in HanaaHC, don't be shocked if they're maybe in that playoff conversation around that 7 or 8 seed a few weeks down the line.
What a great way to start off week 2 here, Brandon. We are going to be able to follow HanaaHC and see if they can continue and make it a perfect 4-0 night right after a break. And a word from our sponsors. Stay tuned.